Welcome. This is James Stevens, Director of the JSI Institute with Jet Kinesiology. I'd like to welcome you to another in our series of JSI's organic trainings, where you get it without the glitzy graphics or all of the high post-production costs, but rather straight to the point in one take, so you get the information that you need fast, hiccups and all. So what we're going to be doing in this session is talking about course 210.60 Power Food Video Training, and I have my little cheat sheet over here, and it's going to let me keep me on track rather as we spend the next 20 or 30 minutes covering important empowering details on how you can effectively determine which foods based on your blood type and based on muscle testing are going to be most beneficial for you. And so what we're going to do is do this testing about once a year. Now, as you've already taken a look at testing food supplements, where we retest about once every 6 months a year, with testing for power foods, it's best done about once every year to help you enhance your healthy and functioning body. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at documents, okay? And these will help lead us through the path of testing. You're probably already familiar right now with document E. And let me go ahead and take my little handy webcam here, woo, and show you what I'm talking about. Document E, the Personal Nutrition Testing Buddy. And if we take a look at this in overall, again, as with every muscle testing session, we always want to prepare for muscle testing and make sure we're in a testable state. This is all very well covered in some of our other training videos. And if you're not in a testable state, adjustments you can do to get yourself into a testable state, which gets us qualified for testing. And in foods, first we test for the benefits and then we test for the amounts. One thing I'd like to bring to your attention is in balloon number 3, line number 2, it says statement, my time period for testing is blank months. Oh, and so right in here, we want you to set the testing period for 12 months. Now also take a look at footnote number 13, which is on document F, which is the companion document for this, for more information about this. But basically what it is that we do is we set this testing intention at the start of the session. And this inferred stimulus, which is what we call it, provides structure to what it is that you're testing. It's very important to set this inferred stimulus because without it, basically all we're doing when we muscle test is taking a snapshot in time of how your body is reacting to this particular product on this particular day at this particular time of day, which really doesn't tell us that much. But what we're doing here is you're designing your own, rather, should I say, you're designing your own power food program. And so one of the things to keep in mind is that it does take about 2 to 3 sessions to test all of your foods. So at the beginning of each of these sessions, be sure to set this inferred stimulus so that we have the proper construct from which to do the muscle testing. Okay? All right, let's take a look as we go down the list here. Yes, another document that I want to show you is a document that you probably already seen before, but what I'm going to do is bring it back up to you again. And it's what we call your unique melting pot. And this is the types of things, or these are rather the types of things that make what is right for one person be different for another person. Obviously, sex and related hormones have things to do with that. A person's age can determine where their nutritional needs lie. And here's a very important one. We're going to be covering this more in detail today. Blood type, metabolic rate has a lot to do with the types of foods that are good for you and the consumption rate, how much you should be consuming, as body weight does. Certainly dietary intake over the last 30 or 40 years is going to have an effect on what kind of foods are going to be best helpful in you obtaining that lifestyle of health and vitality that you're looking for. And if you have any product sensitivities, it's obviously a good idea to avoid these landmines, and we're going to be addressing this issue more in detail today. So as you can see, there's always a number of factors that determine what's right for one person, but there are many factors that affect your nutritional needs. And as I mentioned, we were going to focus on blood type and dietary intake today. And so I want to talk a little bit more about this because this is not new news. In fact, there is a really great book that is actually, you have to buy this book in order to do this testing. And I don't say that because we make money on this, because we don't make a cent on it. But it is a very handy reference to have, and we're able to do muscle testing directly from this book. And it's called Eat Right for Your Type. It's by Dr. Peter D'Adamo, and it talks about how it is that your blood type affects which types of foods are good for you. And as I mentioned, it's going to be an excellent reference for life. So spend the money, go out and get the book, and you'll find out what it is that I'm talking about. Okay? All right, let's take a look further going down the road here, keeping myself on track. As I mentioned, Dr. D'Adamo's book very aptly points out through his case studies that he has compiled in the back of his book, as well as all of the other analysis and research that has been done, is that blood type does affect excuse me, got a little bit of sweat on my lip. Boy, you do this under a camera, you'll find yourself under pressure. Anyway, his book points out how blood type has a definite effect on which foods are good for us and which foods are not good for us. Okay? And as we saw from that previous chart, blood type is a very important factor, but it's not the only factor. Food sensitivities, sex, hormonal changes, and many other items affect what it is that we can consume and what it is that is not a good idea for us to consume. And that's where the muscle testing comes in, because it does the vetting, if you will, for these other many factors. And in my opinion, and opinion is shared by many, that muscle testing is hands down the best way to do it. It's the best way to do it because it is able to take into consideration, from our experience of what we've seen, many different factors to find out what is the best fit for you when you combine all those factors. And that both adds to the simplicity and is just part of what makes muscle testing, in my opinion, such a phenomenal manner for you to help enhance your